former Grand Bahama Port Authority co-chairman and president and noted Grand Bahamian businessman Sir Albert Miller passed away at his home in Freeport around 4:30 this afternoon following a very long illness. Sir Albert, who was known for his passion to see the city of Freeport grow and develop, retired from the Port Authority in 2003, and following Hurricane Francis, which devastated the island in 2004, he was asked by the late chairman, Edward St. George, to come out of retirement for a few months to assist with the restoration process. Sir Albert died at the age of 89. Stay tuned to ZNS News for continuing coverage of the life and legacy of a business icon, Sir Albert Miller. Now, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, joins us live to talk about his condolences. Now, Minister Mitchell, you called him a part of the Troika, the leadership, the old leadership of the Golden City, the Magic City of Freeport. How has this been impacting you? You called him one of your closest friends.
Without doubt. And tonight I want to first express condolences to his wife and to his children on this very sad occasion. I've spent many a time in their home around their luncheon table, and he would have, had he been alive, been sitting this evening watching this newscast. And so, you know, that's how life is, and it's very sad, but I'm really pleased to have known him. My parents chose him as a benefactor for me. He's a great Bahamian, not confined to Grand Bahama. And apart from his work with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, in a generation before that, he rose to become the Deputy Commissioner of Police. But for the political fortunes of the country, would have been the Commissioner of Police. It's something he regretted, but I've introduced him, had the opportunity to introduce him to my aides, both of whom are police officers, young men, and I wanted them to see what you can start off as in this country as a constable on the force and rise to become one of the wealthiest and most powerful Bahamians in our country in one generation.
You talked about him being one of the wisest and most influential Bahamians in our country. Just how widespread was his influence throughout the Bahamas?
He was a benefactor in the private sector. He was an advisor to prime ministers, to governors general, to people large and small. And the thing that was interesting about him was the humble beginnings. This is a man, he told me a story that when he was a baby, he never knew his mom. He was 6 months old. There was a hurricane in the 1920s, and he was being taken back to his home island of Long Island. And he fell overboard as a 6-month-old baby. And he was rescued by someone from the seas, and they were shipwrecked. And his mother never recovered from the dangers of that accident and died within a year of that accident. And he was raised by his older sister. And from that, he became a police officer and rose to the rank of Deputy Commissioner of Police. And then Wallace Groves invited him to move to Freeport and became the security head of the casino. And then the rest is history, when he and Edward St. George and Jack Hayward teamed together to make Freeport the Magic City.
This now leaves a definitive void in Freeport and on Grand Bahama, and definitively also, I think, in the country. How, as a country and Freeport and Grand Bahama itself, how are we going to, I guess, recover from this absence of Sir Albert? Well,
I think that the story of the Bahamas, the great story of the Bahamas in the 20th century, and what we as a public policy, from a public policy point of view, are trying to engender, is the idea of social mobility, that you can be born in one social class, the lowest class, and rise to the top. And I think that story continues today. There are many, many more like Sir Albert who are coming up behind him, and we're really grateful for the contribution which he made to our country, and I believe this will endear him to us. And I commend people to follow his example of a humble man who rose to the heights in the land and made a success at making a contribution to our great country.
All right, Minister Fred Mitchell, Minister of Immigration, joining us, and Foreign Affairs, joining us here live tonight as we have continuing coverage of the passing of Sir Albert Miller. Minister, thank you so much again for joining us here tonight.